welcome to Thronecast. Thank you for coming in.
Fantastic. Good to be on the show.
You are playing Davos Seaworth. How was it getting involved with such an epic production like Game of Thrones?
Well, a little scary at first. Reason being, I'm a big fan. I'm referred to myself as the lunatic that has taken over the asylum, because I'd met Dan and David, the two showrunners, a year ago, and we talked about perhaps getting involved, but there was time issues and the usual professional stuff, and it didn't work out. So the guys said, "Look, come back to us next year. We've got some really interesting characters coming back." So I duly got up to Belfast incredibly quickly, as quickly as I could, met them, and thank the Lord, they asked me to play Davos, and I was very happy about it.
Do you know who they were? If timing issues hadn't been a thing, who were they? Do you know who they were going to cast?
Well, that wouldn't be fair to the person that's playing that.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Let people speculate.
Okay, all right. I think I've got a good guess on that. So tell us about Davos. Why is he called the Onion Knight?
Okay, well, it's not the sexiest name in the world.
It's not, is it?
No, not really. Not really.
Somebody smells a bit like our room.
Yes, probably does, actually, yeah. Somebody said, well, Liam, it's obviously because you're playing a many-layered performance. But
lovely.
It's a terrible joke.
Lovely.
So he's called the Onion Knight because 17 years before we meet him, we should preface this by saying he works for Stannis Baratheon. Stannis was under siege in a castle. His family, everybody, were dying. They were in an extraordinarily bad position in a battle. Davos came in and was a criminal. He saved the day. He brought in a boat full of onions and meat and various stuff, and basically saved everybody's life. The bizarre thing about this, because Stannis, being a Baratheon, when he did save everybody, Stannis was happy and not happy because he was a criminal. Made him a knight, took him on board, lifted him from this criminal life, and made him a made man, as they'd say in The Sopranos. But also punished him. Would you like to know how he punished him?
Yes.
He did that to him. He chopped 4 of his fingers off. And bizarrely, Davos kind of thought that was kind of cool because the guy was honourable, had to punish a crime, and at the same time lifted him out of poverty, I suppose.
He's really loyal, isn't he? Actually, very, very loyal.
He's incredibly
character.
loyal. I mean, one of the things about Davos is, his principles are simple and yet very strong. He's incredibly loyal to Stannis and wants to see and is convinced that Stannis is the right man for the Iron Throne.
When you were acting with the No Fingers, how does that?
Well, we've got a couple of ways of doing it. We have the modern CGI, which you'll see a little bit of, as in the removal of the fingers, but we also had a specially kind of designed and stitched glove, which physically is absolutely fine. However, when you're doing that, it's fine for about 5 minutes. But because these scenes are quite long, you can be a couple of hours or several hours doing this. If you don't remember to do that, after about an hour and a half, when you do finally remember, it's like somebody pouring boiling water over your hand because you've stayed in that position, so you kind of get cramped. So there has been many times I've been around the back of the set going, opening my hand. So I've suffered from my art.
You have. Oh, bless you. Fans of this show are notoriously loyal. They love the show, but they're very, very observant, and we're wondering if anyone will notice that it's the wrong hand.
Yes, they will.
They will.
Of course they will. Well, I'm left-handed. That's the reason we had to do it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a good reason.
You seem to have taken, your character seems to have taken against Melisandre, the Red Princess. What's his issue with her?
Well, the reason being, because of this, because honour, loyalty and duty are incredibly important in this guy, Melisandre comes in and brings her magic, this Lord of Light rubbish, and without giving any spoilers, Davos considers this a dishonourable way of achieving what they want to achieve. He wants to do it properly. In other words, Stannis being right for the throne, and also doing it through battle, through negotiation, through the proper channels of achieving the throne. And he feels that this woman is a manipulator, maybe out for herself, and she's also influencing his son, which he's not happy about. So there's no love lost between these two.
Have you read the books?
No.
Because there's a scene, and I don't want you to give anything away, but there's certainly a scene in the book between Davos and Melisandre that I wonder if whether you've acted will certainly be involving shadows and.
Without giving anything away, there is an extraordinary. I won't say when, where, or it's coming. You stick with this, and I promise you. I mean, I won't say where it is or when it happens, but when I read it, my jaw, like an anvil, hit the ground. And when we shot it, it's absolutely magnificent. And I think the devotees of the book will know what I'm talking about. But them that haven't read the books yet are in for an incredible treat on one of the episodes on this. It's extraordinary stuff.
Fantastic. Get to look forward to it from either point of view. Where did you film?
I did Belfast.
It's handy.
Yeah, indeed, because I live in Dublin. So it's 2 hours up the road. I mean, when I met the guys said, you haven't signed on for a long series before. Is this something you want to do? And I said, look, HBO are making the best television in the world at the moment. They're probably making the best television that has ever been made. And when they've come to my doorstep and offered the quality of writing that this show is, it's a no-brainer. You couldn't get me up there quick enough.
Fantastic. All right, one last question. As we were saying earlier on, it's got a massive fan following, Game of Thrones, and you were one of those already. You're, I think, one of the only, if not the only, cast member that tweets.
Yeah.
How have you coped with the onslaught?
Well, I'll tell you what. I went over to give you some evidence of that, or insight into that. I arrived. We were doing a little publicity, and we did do some really interesting stuff for Series 2 for the next DVD release. We did a whole roundtable thing in LA, and I arrived the day of the Golden Globes. Opened my laptop in the hotel, and I'm looking. I'm on the hashtag Game of Thrones thing, and it was just going beep beep beep, beep. And I said, "What the hell is going on?" And it was the Golden Globes nominations. It was the event. I've never seen. I mean, this. I had to turn it off. It was just ridiculous. You know, these alerts that come on Twitter. It was just, I've never seen anything like it with the amount of trending or whatever they call it that was happening on it. We should also say, because this is a fantasy series and everybody, there's a whole geek nerd thing.
That's us. We love it.
Well, yes, in a sense, yes, but there's it's kind of seen as some sort of subculture. We should remind people that this is a proper, magnificent drama series.
Yeah.
That it's not just for the people that dress up and. I mean, there's a certain, and God bless them, they're wonderful, wonderful guys. But I mean, one of the reasons this so-called, and I think it's wrong to call it a fantasy series. I think there's a fantasy backdrop to this. I mean, you could say it's The Sopranos meets Middle Earth. It's an extraordinary tapestry of incredible characters who are in extraordinary positions in their lives. And with some of the best actors that the acting world has at the moment, and the writing that David and Dan and the rest of the people have done and HBO have done, the quality of this show is what has people looking at it, and the fact that it's against a backdrop of fantasy, it's just another layer on this show, and it's one of the reasons I got involved in it. It's this wonderful tapestry of drama, character, and fantasy, and. For them that aren't nerds and people that dress up, watch the show, give it a chance. I guarantee it. You'll retire from work so you can watch the rest of the show. It's magnificent. I truly mean it. It's a beautiful piece of television.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You don't need to have read the books. It's stunning program. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming to Thronecast.
No, it's a real pleasure.
Thank you.